Today in shul, we had a visit from someone. He came for the Yortzeit, the 89th year of passing of his grandfather. Passed away in 1934, 89 years ago. And he comes to remember him. He comes to say Kaddish, come to pray, to daven, and to say L'chaim afterwards. Imagine someone who passed away 89 years ago, and they're still remembered, that a grandchild comes to remember them. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty awesome. So today's learning in honor of Tzvi ben Zev, our dear friend Hershey, his grandfather. That's quite something, I must say. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. What is your biggest blessing in your life? For some, they might see health as their biggest blessing. Others might see family as their biggest blessing. And others might be the impact that they make in this world as the biggest blessing. While all those are valuable, and some might even say invaluable, but the Alter Rebbe introduces the idea of a blessing that we make, and that there is a different focus and a different understanding of really what a blessing is. So, a blessing on your head you shall have. What is that blessing? Well, let's go to the very words of a bracha, of a blessing, and from there we can understand perhaps what is the greatest blessing we have in our lives. So we make a blessing, Baruch Atah Hashem, blessed are you, God. The idea of blessing is to draw down from what's up there to bring it down here. So it can be a blessing for health, for family, for livelihood, for whatever it is, to draw it down, right? From you, God, to Hashem, the name of God that's transcendent, Elokeinu, the God that is immanent in this world, and that through this we create God as King of the world. And then we add, Asher Kiddishanu ben mitzvosav, that he has Kiddishanu with his commandment. This is the key here, Kiddishanu. So, Kiddishanu, let's see, it has two meanings. The first meaning is to betroth, like Kiddushin. Kiddushin is the first part of the marriage ceremony. The man gives a ring and betroths his bride, man and wife, and that makes them two halves of one soul. The man cleaves to his wife and they become one flesh. A union, a oneness. So exactly similar to this unity through betrothal, infinitely more so is the union of the divine soul that is engaged in Torah study, as we are now, and commandments, whether being charitable, giving, putting on tefillin, Shabbos, and so on and so forth, together with the vivifying soul and the garments, the animal soul and in its garments, right, meaning the thought, speech, and action that we're engaged in doing the mitzvah, we become completely unified in one with the light of the Ein Sof, of the infinite of God. Now, the union that there is between husband and wife, there's no greater union that can be had in the physical world, in this world, except for the soul, that it has a union with God through Torah and mitzvahs. It is even a greater union, infinitely more. But it's the same, if we were to use as a metaphor, the metaphor of husband and wife. That's the union we have with God. And therefore, that's why King Solomon, when he wrote Song of Songs, right, he speaks, which is speaking about a union that we have with God, he uses the metaphor of a bridegroom and a bride, because that's the attachment that there is, the great union and oneness, and therefore using the metaphor in unity that is brought by a divine kiss, a divine embrace. As we have explained previously in this chapter, chapter 46, that the divine embrace means that through the mitzvah we are embraced, bound with God. Through the study of Torah, we have a divine kiss, a union through a kiss. Kiss, two lips that come together. We lip his words of Torah. It's his words. The words of Tanya are God's words. Yes, the Alter Rebbe wrote them, right, through his inspiration, through his divine inspiration, but it's God's words through him, or Chumash, as God dictated to Moses to write. It's all the same. It's all Torah, God's wisdom that we repeat. When we say it, we're saying his words, so that's like mouthing him. That's the kiss. And the exchange of breath, that in that words that we mouth, also there's the divine wisdom that then becomes the breath that becomes his spirit, God's spirit of wisdom that is now absorbed within me and becomes my wisdom. That's a betrothal. That's Kiddushin. That's the first explanation of Kiddishanu, that we are betrothed to God. The second explanation, which might be the more familiar one, is that we are sanctified through the mitzvah. What does sanctified mean? It means elevated to supreme holiness, God's holiness. Meaning, we're separated from the world, from the human condition. We are not bound by the human condition. And we become separated, sanctified by a quality of God as he encompasses the world. So likewise, we are beyond the world, elevated through the act of the mitzvah. So what is the biggest blessing in my life? Kiddishanu, that I could be betrothed. I could be united and one with God. That he gives me the capability that through the Torah study we engage in right now, through the mitzvah that I do, that I am in a union and a oneness with God. And for the Mer Kiddishanu means not only betrothed, but also means sanctified, means elevated, separated from the human condition that doesn't define me. What defines me is that I'm separated and connected with God to such a degree that I can call him my God. He's mine. And that is the true blessing in our lives, that we can be united with God, elevated beyond the human condition, which gives us the power to be who we are. Everything else is insignificant and pales in value. Health, wealth, family, all very important, but they are not me. We need to be healthy so we could be truly connected and have a union with the divine. We need to have, to be able to have the things that we need in life, but they are only as a means to an end. Even health is only a means to an end. We don't live to be healthy. We need to be healthy so we can live a life that is connected with divine purpose, with rise beyond the human condition, that we could truly then make the impact that we need to make in this world. Huh. Wow, Jeff. I'm impressed. Jeff writes that he's noticed that studying Tanya for over the last 25 years. Wow. I put my connection with God above all else, and it's happened without even realizing. Yeah, because what the learning that we do is a lot of it's by osmosis, a lot of it. And it really, it affects us beyond our recognition, way beyond our recognition. which is an amazing thing when you think about it. Norm.
Hello, Rabbi. Good morning.
Good morning, Norm. Please share with us.
Why study Torah? And I was just thinking about this. And is it to understand the mind of Hashem? Is it to understand the word of Hashem? Is it to do things, or is it just to connect with Hashem in the very act of?
So I think, first of all, it's all of the above. Mm-hmm. But the basis of it is this is what God needs from us. He needs us and wants us to connect with Him through Torah, through mitzvahs. Torah in its uniqueness because it's like the divine kiss, right? That's the metaphor. And mitzvahs because it's a divine embrace. It's unique metaphor. And in each one, there's something special. Just like in a human relationship that you connect, that you become, that there's a union, husband and wife, right? There's a kiss, there's an embrace. Why not? Why one and the other? Because you need both to express the union. So the union is expressed through our study of Torah, and that's the key is to recognize that there's this union and sanctification that we are rise above, and this is part of the meditation that you have, or the thought process that we have before we study, in order that when we do study, we are truly expressing that union. Because the study could be just to gain knowledge, and that would be missing the true blessing of connection. It might be that, or order, you might say, to gain knowledge in order I know what to do and what to do, what God needs me to do, how to keep Shabbos properly, how to keep kosher, how to, other mitzvahs and so on, which is also important. But even before knowing what to do is the awareness that through what we're doing is the union, is the sanctification through it, and that's very very powerful. So all of the above is true. It's I guess what's important is maybe the order of things. That might be something that we should be mindful of. Does that help?
Oh yeah, it does. It's good, even if we have these sort of feelings. It's good to articulate them. It helps to solidify them.
Absolutely. And the important thing, I guess, over here is what the Alter Rebbe is doing as Chabad, right? Meaning intelligence, is the mindfulness, the awareness that we have. That's crucial over here. And that's what he's telling us, that be mindful of this, that when you're studying, this is what's happening. That's the key. Or that's what's in other words, the feeling is then becomes based on what our awareness is. So he's giving us a greater awareness, a greater aptitude that otherwise we wouldn't have without his teachings. Amazing. Thank you, Norm. So Eitan is asking, can a Noachide marry after converting? Someone who converts to Judaism as a non-Jew can marry someone who is born a Jew. Yes. Yep, not a problem. But if you're a Noachide and not Jewish, so then someone who's not Jewish is to marry someone who isn't Jewish, and someone who's Jewish marry someone who's Jewish. Right? And of course, when it comes to conversion, and this is something very important that I want to point out, because I'm dealing with it here in Montreal with couples that got converted not in the appropriate way. Being Jewish, you can't be half Jewish. You can't be half pregnant. You can't be half Jewish. Either you have a Jewish soul or you don't. Now, sometimes it might be confusion to know what the facts are, but the fact is, either you have or you don't. So it's important that if anybody is converting, please do it with an appropriate, not just that it's Orthodox, by the way. Orthodox not sufficient, because we have here in Montreal even Orthodox that is not accepted because it's not done properly. So I implore everybody, make sure it's an appropriate, based-in court of Jewish law, accepted. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me privately, and I can help you with that. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Zurich and Kadeshim in Montreal County. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you, Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. Thank you for joining.